it's currently Friday and my plan is to make a sweater with this yarn right here and have it done by Sunday. But it is currently Monday, so I obviously did not accomplish that, which gives me 3 days to make an entire sweater or a cardigan. I still haven't decided if I want to make a sweater or a cardigan. My original plan was to make a sweater, but after putting on this cardigan that I am wearing at the moment, I started thinking maybe I can make a cardigan, because this one that I'm currently wearing, it turned out so good. I finished the cardigan and this is what it looks like. I love it so much and I kind of want another cardigan, but I also want another sweater. I'm going to start by making the back panel. This is the back panel. So I don't have to decide just yet whether it's going to be a cardigan or a sweater. I'll decide after I finish the back panel. My dad just made me this table. He made it specifically for my knitting machine because as of right now, my knitting machine is set up in the family living room and it has definitely made the space feel pretty cluttered. So everyone wants it out of there, but I didn't really have a space for it in my room or like any sort of desk to set it up on. So my dad just quickly threw this together. It looks so good. Now I'm gonna go grab my machine and all the accessories that come along with it, and I'm going to bring it up here and set it up on this table. So I'm gonna be making the majority of this sweater or cardigan on my knitting machine. The only thing I'm gonna do by hand is casting on, casting off, and maybe the ribbing if I end up doing any. I don't really have much of a plan for this project at the moment. I'm just gonna kind of go with the flow and see what I feel like doing in the moment. I already started this project and this is what I have so far. So like I mentioned, one of the things that I'm gonna be doing by hand is casting on, which I did, and then I also knit a few short rows by hand as well. That's because I don't know how to do short rows on my machine yet, so I've just been doing them by hand. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to place all the stitches that are currently on my circular needles onto my knitting machine needles, and then I'm just going to continue on the machine. Gosh, this table's so wobbly. Is it the table or is it my floor? It's probably the table. This is the back panel, and now I'm just deciding whether or not this is long enough. And since I'm freestyling this sweater or cardigan, figuring out the size of each piece of the garment is the trickiest part because I'm not following any pattern that's going to tell me exactly how big to make something. So I have to figure it out myself, and I end up second guessing myself a lot. But I think this is long enough. I still want to add a little bit of ribbing, I think, at the bottom. Ideally, I would like to cast off this back panel without having to do ribbing at the bottom, but since this is stock knit, if I do that, it'll probably end up rolling at the bottom, and I don't want that. So I think I'm gonna do some ribbing, which is gonna add to the length of this back panel. I also think I'm gonna make this a sweater. So what I'm doing right now is I'm putting my stitches on a lifeline before transferring them onto my circular needles. as you can see, I have already created the neck hole right here. And what I did for that is I picked up my stitches for the front panel on either side right here along the top of the back panel. And then I just worked the two sections on either side of where my neck hole is. And then I slowly started to cinch inwards a little bit in order to create like a round hole for my head to go through. And then I cast on about 16 stitches right here to connect both sides of the front panel. And now I'm finally ready to place all of my stitches back onto my knitting machine, where I will continue to work up the front panel. I just finished doing all the rows that I needed to do on my knitting machine for the front panel of the sweater. So now I'm going to take my stitches off of my knitting machine, and then I'm going to knit I think like about 14 rows I did of ribbing. I think I did 14 rows of ribbing at the bottom of the back panel. So now I'm going to do the same thing for the front panel. But instead of doing that right after I take my stitches off my knitting machine, I am actually going to start my sleeves, and then I'm going to do the ribbing for the sleeves and the front panel all at the same time. Yeah, I just need to get these sleeves done. So that's what I'm going to do as soon as I take these stitches off. So I finished making my front panel, so now I am picking up stitches along the outer edge of my sweater. So I picked up this many stitches in order to create a sleeve. So I am currently picking up 3 stitches for every 4 stitches going in the opposite direction. My goal for today was to work up most of my front panel and most of my sleeves on the knitting machine. And then I want to do a couple inches of ribbing at the bottom of the front panel and sleeves, which I'll probably have to do tomorrow, but that's gonna take me a lot longer than the things that I'm doing on the machine. So I wanted to get the majority of this sweater done today so that I can knit the ribbing by hand tomorrow without it being super stressful. But so far, what I've been doing on the knitting machine today has taken me a lot longer than expected because I kept messing up. But it is currently almost 8:40 p.m. so we still have some time left in the day to finish what I intended to finish. So I picked up this many stitches, so my sleeve is gonna be about this big. I think that's a good size. This sweater has been causing me so much stress, mostly because it's been taking me a lot longer to make than I thought it would. And I wanted to finish this sweater by Sunday. So it's currently Friday, and my plan is to make a sweater with this yarn right here and have it done by Sunday. But it is currently Monday, so I obviously did not accomplish that. And the reason that I wanted to finish the sweater by Sunday is because I leave for Vancouver this Wednesday, and I wanted to be able to bring this sweater with me, so I wanted to finish it by Sunday so I would have time to block it and have it dry so that I can pack it and bring it with me to Vancouver. But since I wasn't able to finish it on Sunday, I don't know if I'll be able to bring it with me to Vancouver, which was actually the whole reason why I made this sweater. I made it specifically to wear in Vancouver. So yeah, I'm feeling a little disappointed that I couldn't finish it in time, but there's still a very slim chance that I could finish it in time for Vancouver if I finish everything today. Because if I finish it today, I can block it tomorrow and hopefully it dries in time for when I leave at 5 a.m. on Wednesday. But this deadline that I've created for myself is stressing me out so much, and it's taking a lot of the joy out of making this sweater. So I'm telling myself that it's okay if I don't finish it in time for Vancouver, but if I do, that's awesome, but if I don't, it's fine. Another thing about this sweater that's been stressing me out is the collar. So if we take a look at the collar, it looks pretty, looks good. It's finished now, but this is the second time that I finished it. The first time that I thought I completed the collar, so this was yesterday, I did something similar to this, but it was a lot smaller, and it was like maybe like half the size as this one. So this is like a nice big thick collar, but how I had it yesterday, it was like half the size. So it was this tiny little collar, and when I tried it on yesterday, it looked a little awkward. So I had to take off all of my my bind off stitches. So I didn't have to take apart the whole collar, I just had to take off the bind off stitches. But doing that was really annoying because this is a fuzzy yarn and it's boucle, so there's a lot of little like loops in this yarn. There's a lot of opportunity for it to get knotted, and that happened a lot when I tried to take out my bind off stitches, and that was so stressful, and I felt very discouraged last night. But then I woke up this morning, felt motivated again, and I think I like doubled the collar in length and then folded it over again, did the cast off, and everything is looking good now. I'll try it on and show you guys what it looks like. So this is what the collar looks like. Yeah, I think I like it. I don't know. I'm hoping that everything will come together nicely once like I've finished the entire sweater, but yeah, I think it's a cute collar. It's not, it's a bit wider than how I usually do my collars. I usually make my collars like a lot like, yeah, smaller on my neck, but let me know what you think in the comments. I need some encouragement because I have to like this sweater because it's been so annoying to make. So basically all I have left to do is completing the sleeves. So this is one sleeve right here. I still have to do some ribbing at the bottom of it, and then sewing all the panels together in order to complete the sweater. But before doing any of the sewing, yeah, we have to complete the sleeves. And the reason I took the sleeves off of my machine before completing them is because I was intending to do the ribbing by hand, but that takes me significantly longer than doing anything on the machine. So I'm going to attempt to do some ribbing on the machine for the first time. I know how, but I've only done it once while practicing on a swatch. So we are going to attempt it on the sweater. So I have to manually place the stitches that are on my lifeline right now back onto the needles of my knitting machine. But my stitches that are on my lifeline are super small right now because I've like stretched out the sleeve a lot just to kind of like see its true size and everything, which has shrunk the stitches while they're on my lifeline. So I have to stretch them out a little bit in order to get it big enough to place onto my needle. But then when I pull on one stitch to kind of make it big enough to place onto my little needle, it shrinks the next stitch that I have to grab. So this becomes very time consuming, and it's very frustrating as well. It makes me lose my patience a little bit, and it just makes me feel more discouraged about this project. But yeah, I feel like I go through a lot of different phases of like feeling super motivated, excited about this sweater. And then I go through phases of like hating it, feeling like it's not gonna look good, it was a waste of time. But I feel like I go through these phases with most projects that I make, especially since I'm not following a pattern. When not following a pattern, it makes it harder to trust the outcome since you're just making it up as you go. Now that all my stitches are placed on the needles of my machine, I can take out my lifeline I'm getting really close to finishing all the ribbing for this first sleeve that I'm working on right now. And so far it's been going really well. It ended up being a lot easier than I expected, and it's been pretty fun to do actually. I really enjoy doing it this way. The only thing is it is still pretty time consuming. It takes less time than if I were to do it by hand. But the thing with doing it by hand, it makes my project portable, so I can bring it anywhere, and it allows me to like knit on the couch. It's relaxing, it's fun. But when doing anything on the machine, I have to be in this same spot the whole time, and it's less relaxing. It requires more of my attention. Oops. Almost dropped that stitch, I think. So even though doing it on the machine this way is quicker than doing it by hand, it still feels like it takes a lot of time because I have to sit here the entire time and really focus. So it just feels like it's taking forever. But I do really enjoy doing it. It's actually really fun. I'm almost done. But I think after finishing the ribbing on this sleeve right here, I think I'm going to take a break before doing the second sleeve, which means I will most likely not be finishing this sweater today, meaning I won't be able to bring it with me to Vancouver, but it's fine. I would rather take my time and enjoy making this sweater instead of rushing myself in order to get it done today. I'm back from Vancouver and I am ready to finish this sweater. Last night, I spent a couple hours sewing all the panels together, so I got all of the sewing done for this sweater, and it is looking so good. It actually looks like a sweater now, and it looks so good on camera too. This blue is so pretty. Yeah, so now that I finished all the sewing, all I have left to do is the blocking. So that's what we're gonna do now. Okay, and now we let it soak. This is what the sweater looks like after blocking. My goal when blocking this sweater was to have the body of it grow in length, but not the sleeves. I did not want the sleeves to grow in length, and they didn't, and that's because when blocking it, I stretched it like this way rather than this way. But when it came to the body of the sweater, I stretched it a lot downwards, and it definitely grew in length. Before the blocking, this sweater was like maybe this length. It felt almost like a little cropped, and it also cinched in a little bit at the bottom, and I think that's because the ribbing that I did at the bottom was a lot more like dense and, you know, together. But I'm guessing that the blocking just allowed it to relax, and now it just has a more boxy fit, which is what I was going for this sweater. So yeah, I would say that the blocking was a success, but there is something that I'm feeling a little unsure about with this sweater, and that is the collar. I'm still feeling a little unsure about the collar. Yeah, I don't know. I can't seem to fall in love with this collar. I thought maybe it would grow on me, but the more that I look at it while wearing this sweater, the more that I don't like it. And I do like a folded collar, which is what this is, but I think it would look better on a bulkier, thicker sweater, which this is not. This is a very sheer, lightweight sweater, and this kind of collar just feels bulkier. So yeah, it's throwing me off a little bit, and I want to really love this sweater, and it just feels like this collar is the one thing that's just not right. So I think I'm gonna take it apart. Not the whole thing. I'm just gonna take off the bind off at the bottom here, which is what kind of keeps it folded. So I think I'm gonna take out the bind off stitches and then maybe a few rows of the collar, because when it's unfolded, it's probably gonna be like this long, and I don't want it to be a turtleneck. I do like the length of this collar here, but I don't want it to be folded, because the folded part of it is what makes it look thick. and is what's, I don't know, I guess throwing me off. Yeah, this is the annoying part that I'm doing right now, is taking out my bind off stitches, because like I mentioned earlier, this yarn makes it pretty hard to take out stitches, especially bind off stitches for some reason, because of how fuzzy it is and the fact that it's boucle. So I took out all of the bind off stitches here, and now I'm going to unfold the collar. And with it being unfolded, it's gonna be double the length. So this is the collar that we're working with now. And I'm definitely gonna wanna take out half of the rows of the collar and make it the same length that it was when folded. So now I'll just frog half of these rows. The sweater is officially done now. This is what it looks like, blocked, collar, finished, and everything. This is what the collar looks like now, and I definitely like it better now compared to what it looked like before. Yeah, I ended up making it just a tiny little collar. I know before I mentioned that I was planning on making it the same length as what it was when it was a folded collar, but I made it like half the length of what it was when it was folded. But I love it. Cute little collar. So it's just like this thick here. I will say though, there is one thing that I'm feeling a little iffy about, and that is the sleeves, but it could be an easy fix, but I'm not sure yet. So I noticed this when wearing the sweater. So the more that I looked at it when wearing it, I realized that the sleeves almost look like they're flaring out a little bit at the bottom. Like it's a little wider here at the bottom compared to the base of the sleeve. And that could be due to two things. One, it could be due to the way that I blocked the sleeves. And like I mentioned earlier, I blocked the sleeves by pulling them downwards because I was really scared of them growing in length. I did not want the sleeves to grow in length, and they didn't. And that's because when blocking it, I stretched it like this way rather than this way. So I didn't pull the sleeves in this direction at all, which I probably should have. And I mostly pulled it downwards around the bottom of the sleeve. I think it might have just dried a little funky, and now it kind of looks like a weird shape. It looks like it's like smaller here. I don't know if it's super noticeable. Maybe I'm just fixating on it a little too much, but let me know in the comments if it's as noticeable as I think it is. But yeah, if the reason for this is because of the way I blocked it, it can be easily corrected by reblocking it and pulling it, you know, this way. Or it could be because I picked up too many stitches for the sleeve, like along the side of the front and back panel. So I think if I remember correctly, I picked up 3 stitches for every 4 stitches going in the opposite direction. I am currently picking up 3 stitches for every 4 stitches going in the opposite direction, when really I probably should have picked up 2 stitches for every 3 stitches. So that's my other theory, but I'll only find out the real cause of why the sleeves are looking a little oddly shaped after blocking it for a second time, which I won't be doing anytime soon. So I'm just gonna accept that the sleeves are a little not to my liking, but it's fine. Everything else about the sweater is nice. I love it. And it was, I think, worth all the trouble that it gave me, because this sweater was way harder than I expected it to be. Not that it was a super complicated construction. It just, the yarn was a little difficult to work with, but it's beautiful, so worth it. And then I just, yeah, I kept messing up, and that's what made it so difficult. If I didn't mess up, this would be super easy and it would have worked up a lot quicker, but nope, I kept messing up, but that's okay. We finished it. So now that I finished the sweater, I'm gonna end this video, but thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this, I guess you could say vlog, or just watching me make this sweater. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. I would love to hear what you think about this sweater. If there's anything that you would do differently, or if you think I did everything right, Or let me know also, I'm curious to know if you guys liked the collar before I took it apart or if you like it better how it is now. Anyways, I'm gonna go now. Bye.